Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. There is reported speech with you, Mr. Ayman Mahgoub. The points we will cover: number one, what is reported speech? Number two, reported speech without tense changes. Three, reported speech with tense changes. Number four, other changes in reported speech. These will be for all stages, but we will add reported imperatives for prep 1 and add reported questions plus imperative for prep 3 and reporting verbs for secondary stages. We use reported speech when we are saying what other people say, think, or believe. For example, she says, he wants it. I believe he loves her. She told me he had asked her to marry her. We thought he was in Australia. In reported speech, sometimes we change the sentences into indirect without change in tenses, some others with change in tenses. Let's begin with reported speech without tense changes. When we are reporting somebody's words a short time after they were said, we do not change tenses. For example, it's quite cold, said Harry. Harry just said it's quite cold. We do not change is into was. Why? Because Harry just said these words. Also, when we are reporting a scientific fact, light from the sun takes 8 minutes to reach us, the professor said. We'll not say the professor said that light from the sun took. No, we'll say the professor said that light from the sun takes. Why takes? Why didn't we change the tense? Because we are talking about scientific fact, truth. Also, when we are reporting something which is still true, okay, I have a niece in America, Mr. Wood said. Again, Mr. Wood said that he has. We didn't change have into had. Why? Because it's still true that Mr. Wood has an ace in America. But we change it, have into has, because the subject was I, and now the subject is he. The fourth thing and the last, when we use a reporting verb in the present tense, the reporting verb is say or tell and so on. I'm staying in tonight. Mark says. So Mark says that he is staying in tonight. Why he is staying in? Why didn't we change is or am into was? Because the reporting verb say is still in the present. Say, says, has said, or even future will say. So we do not change the tenses in reported speech when we are reporting somebody's words a short time after they were said, or when we are reporting a scientific fact, or when we are reporting something which is still true, and when we use a reporting verb in the present tense. Now, the reported speech with tense changes. We usually have to change the tense if the reporting verb is in the past. The reporting verb, as we said, is say or tell and so on. The present simple becomes past simple. So I am hungry becomes he said that he was hungry and becomes was. I am writing a letter. This is present continuous. Becomes he said that he was writing a letter. So am writing becomes was writing or were writing. The present perfect becomes past perfect. I have cleaned my room. He said that he had cleaned his room. By the way, we do not change the gerund, the verb plus ing, or the past participle. Okay, so have it changed or has it changed becomes had changed. The present perfect continuous becomes also past perfect continuous. She has been waiting all day. She had been waiting all day. He said that she had been waiting all day. طيب, what about the past? The past simple becomes past perfect. So I paid $12 for the video. He said that he had paid $12 for the video. The past continuous becomes past perfect continuous. So we were talking about football. He said that they had been talking about football, where talking becomes had been talking. So the present simple becomes past simple, present continuous, past continuous, present perfect, past perfect, present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous, past simple becomes past perfect, past continuous becomes past perfect continuous. We have some other changes in the reported speech. We sometimes have to change other words, such as pronouns, words that refer to time and a place, and some modal verbs. So now becomes then or at that moment. Today becomes that day. Yesterday becomes the day before or the previous day. Tomorrow becomes the next day or the following day. Last week or last month becomes the week before or the month before, the previous week or the previous month. Next week, next month, next year, next week becomes the week after or the following week. So next month becomes the month after or the following month, and so on. Ago becomes before. So a week ago becomes a week before. Here becomes there, this, that, these, those, and all present models becomes the past of the models. For example, will becomes would, can becomes could, and so on. Reported imperatives. We use the reporting verbs tell, or order, or command, or ask, or beg, plus somebody, plus to, plus infinitive, or not to, plus infinitive. For example, sit still. He told me, or he ordered me, or he commanded me, or he begged me to stand still. Don't say a word. He told me, he ordered me, he commanded me, he asked me, he begged me not to say a word. So the imperative, the infinitive becomes to plus infinitive, and don't becomes not to. Sit down becomes to sit down. Don't sit down, not to sit down. The reporting questions. Reported questions are usually introduced with the verbs ask, inquire, wonder, want to know, and so on. For example, have you finished? He asked me if or whether they have the same meanings. If or whether I had finished. Now we changed the question order into statement order. Have you becomes you have. After that, we change you into I and have into had. Okay. So the word order is direct. Okay. And the tenses, pronouns, and time and the place expressions change as in the statements. We have two types of questions, as we know: yes no questions and WH questions. Yes no questions begins with the helping verb or auxiliary, and the answer will be yes or no. In this type, we introduce the reporting verb or the reported question with if or whether. If or whether. تمام? Are there any apples left? He asked, or he inquired, or he wondered, or he wanted to know. If or whether, because it's a yes no question. If or whether. There are becomes where any apples left. The second type of questions is the WH question, which began with WH word like who, what, where, how, and so on. In this type, we introduce the reported question with the same question word. Okay. Who left the fridge open? He asked. Who left becomes had left the fridge open. Okay. Why did they go there? He wanted to know why again they had gone. Why did I use had gone? Because the verb was did go, did go, did go. It's past simple, so we use had gone post. Thanks for your watching. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.